Hello, you buggers. Welcome back to Anime Shift. I'm your host. Sasuke, and I'm joined by Naruto.
Don't tell me this is how we're introing.
You bet your baka it is.
Welcome back to Sussy Shift, episode
if we
23.
Ever had Chandler and or Curtis as a guest, our entire episode would be ruined by that.
Oh my god.
I have been, for context, that's almost the only way those two communicate anymore. Curtis and Chandler, that is. And I hung out with them for enough hours yesterday that it has rubbed off on me, and it is very upsetting how much my brain is riddled with that kind of talk.
Those two live in the bit.
Yeah, I don't think they, live... I don't think they perceive the world like other people perceive it. I think they perceive the world in, shapes and colors and, squiggles, not like buildings and cars and shit.
To them, all the world is indeed a stage, and we are merely players, performers, and portrayers, each another's audience inside the gilded cage.
But yeah, to properly welcome you all to the show, welcome back. I almost did it again. This is episode number 23, I believe,
yep.
Or what's the... Okay. This is lovely episode number 23, everyone's lucky number, Taylor Swift's second favorite number, and we are... back. I got my nails done recently, so I'm excited about that. I wish I could show you all. We don't have a video version of the show yet, though. So maybe I'll...
Slay!
Maybe when we get a video version, I'll put up a picture or something. But welcome back. I'm your host, Emmy, joined by the other host with the most, who likes to boast and also makes a fine roast. And also, when dying, will... be a ghost, and her name is Mia.
Wow. Stuck the landing.
Yeah, I know. I stuck it with my face. Landed right on it.
Fun thing with the roast is steamed hams has been making a little bit of a revival. So I've had that playing on repeat in my head for the past week.
Do you mean steamed hams like the food, and also do you mean like just regularly, and also do you mean for you, or do you mean culturally on the rise again? What do you mean?
No, I'm talking about the meme, the Simpsons meme, where it's oh, Superintendent Chalmers, hope you're ready for an unforgettable luncheon.
I have no idea what that is. I've never heard of that.
You really haven't seen steamed hams?
I have never heard of that.
That's crazy. Hey gods, my roast is ruined.
I'm not as meme cultured as other people. When was that you say it's coming back. When was that popular initially?
Oh man, it would have been... maybe
if it was anywhere from 2010 to 2019, then I definitely wouldn't have seen it.
More recent than that. It's Albany expression. No, it's when did steamed hams pop off?
I have literally never heard of that. But also, I've taken several breaks from any kind of... If it was popular on TikTok, then I'm not surprised. I've never heard of it.
No, not it was
just around
an everywhere thing.
It's like an image meme, I assume. Is it just an image that people caption with different things, or is it a specific?
No, it's just
meme?
it's just literally. Well, people did transformative things of it after it gained some popularity, but it's just the full scene from The Simpsons of Superintendent Chalmers and Principal Skinner, their unforgettable luncheon. It's literally just a whole the whole bit,
right,
played start to finish,
That bit is the meme, yeah.
Literally just it existing is the meme.
Is that episode newer, or is it just an old one that just popped off?
No, old.
Damn.
It's season 7 or something. But it's just a really funny scene.
When was season 7? How old is The Simpsons? I forget. When was season 7?
Season 20 or something.
I mean, I know they're Family Guy in it, but what? I'm trying to remember, when did The Simpsons start? I know it came out before Family Guy.
Would have been early 90s. 1989.
1989. That's what I thought. I thought that might have been too early of a guess, but I was right. Sorry, I bummed my mic arm also, if anybody heard that. Because I did it while I was talking.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. Bring me my phone. Bring me my earpods. I like to garden while I talk to your grandfather.
Yeah, so Simpsons currently, we are in the pre-stages. Apparently we are going to be getting season 36 of The Simpsons.
Jesus Christ. There's a limit. Here's the thing.
Yeah.
There are politicians that get too old for their positions, and shows are the same way. Some of them just get too old for the title they hold on their networks, and I can commend some of it, but every show that's in like it's any season higher than like 10 is like gets very washed very fast. At least from my perspective. I've seen several examples. Like 3 I could give off the top of my head. At least from my perspective, other people might like the new episodes, and that's totally valid. But for me, like Family Guy, Simpsons, and SpongeBob are like the biggest examples of shows getting washed after like their 10th season. And SpongeBob was washed after like its 4th season. Like the 4th season was like okay, but that's when they switched to like more digital animation specifically. I forget what like the term is, like
bimbofication.
That's exactly what I was trying to think of. And they turned to a more digital animation style. So season 4 looks like completely different than seasons 1 through 3. And season 1 was like, I think entirely hand drawn, or at least the pilot was.
Yeah.
But that's why it looks so good. And it also just had like more classic comedy. Steven Hillenburg stopped like heading the show after the movie because the movie was supposed to be like the finale. And then Nickelodeon just like gawked it and could not let it go because SpongeBob became their like Mickey Mouse.
Makes it even better that the new SpongeBob stuff coming out has in memory of Steven Hillenburg slapped on the front of it.
Right.
Like this has nothing to do with him at this point.
Sucks. Nickelodeon is basically doing with SpongeBob what the Super Bowl did with like Sweet Victory, how everyone like wanted that.
Oh my God.
Just kind of like shit in a reference. So they're basically just doing that for Steven Hillenburg and SpongeBob now. And it's just shameful. It's shame.
These shows that have gone on for thousands of years at this point, I will not deny their value if there's people that still watch them and enjoy them. There's children right now who are watching new SpongeBob as the SpongeBob they grow up on, and they're going to remember it probably fondly. But that doesn't mean exactly that it's not still this corpse that's just sloughing off flesh every half a second. Same thing with Family Guy, same thing with The Simpsons. It's like, I'm sure people still get entertainment out of this. People still enjoy it existing, and that's why it keeps getting made. But it's also like, you know, we gotta, we don't have enough cans of Febreze to mask the rotting smell.
It's hard because the more brain rot they write into those shows, that's like what this generation is growing up on. That's why people are getting fucking stupider, because like we grew up on the generation of like SpongeBob and stuff that was written really well, at least mostly. And a lot more creative like shows were coming out. Like in the early 2010s, they launched like Adventure Time and Regular Show, and those shows were written really well. They were really funny. So it's like more, plus in the 2010s, there was like that like upstart of LGBTQ friendly shows like Adventure Time, or like Adventure Time subtly allied itself to the LGBTQ community. There's a lot of like little innuendos towards acceptance and coming out and stuff. Like there's the episode with the bear. I don't remember what it's called, but there's just like a bear that like imitates Finn and follows him around and puts on his clothes and stuff. And Jake's like super against it, like basically bear phobic, like hates it that he's doing that. And Finn is like, putting on clothes, dancing, he ain't hurting nobody. He's just cool and he likes my style. That ain't a crime. Like that's pretty much acceptance of identity.
That's based.
And that's cool. And I love how little and subtle that is, but that could go a long way for someone. Also, what's funny about that episode, Finn and Jake representing like parents, is Finn makes Finn cakes and he's like, Jake, don't eat my Finn cakes. I gotta go pick up BMO from soccer. And he goes, picks up BMO, and while they get back there, the bear ate the Finn cakes, and Finn and Jake are like yelling at each other about it, and BMO's like sitting on the floor like rolling his soccer ball back and forth because his parents are arguing. It's just the most real, like, you have to sit in the room while your parents are fighting scene. It's so funny. That's the kind of thing that Adventure Time could do, and it was just so perfect.
That's funny.
Like, I think Pendleton Ward staying on the show but like stepping down as the head writer made a lot of sense. Like I have a lot of respect for that, because the show started being taken more seriously after that. Like the first 2 seasons were pretty silly and not very plot heavy, and then seasons 3 and 4 set up a lot of heavy plot. Like the season 4 finale leading into the season 5 premiere was probably like the biggest deal ever since, or the biggest deal like before people were getting ready for Come Along With Me, The Ultimate Adventure, because that credits theme is so iconic.
And then Minecraft.
Yeah, I've still never seen the Minecraft thing. I think I might have seen it on YouTube somewhere, but I forget. I remember they did do that Minecraft crossover, though.
Yeah. I think we are getting a bit of a return to how things were in the 2000s, right after, I would say, the peak of stuff like Adventure Time, where once shows like that had started to die down and other replacements needed to come in, that's where we started to see like this rise in like just more chaotic and random ideas that really didn't function great because they were chaotic and random for the sake of being that. Whereas like this, you can't just have chaos and randomness and just throw that into a show and just expect that to like function well for television. It's like trying to make a bowl of spaghetti without the bowl. And so that's like all the brain rot that we get in a lot of, especially children's shows today. It's just like, okay, how do we throw as much brain rot into this that like, you know, we need to have this like goofy, wacky randomness that the kids will appreciate and make them laugh, but we have no structure to support such things. So it's Squidward torture machine, the contraption.
It's also got to do with like the generation that's like up in the business now, like the evolution of people who are making children's TV now. Like you had people back in the day who wanted to just like make shows and write for like parents and kids to enjoy the show because there were a lot of jokes that only parents would get, but also seemed innocent and funny enough to a child, like SpongeBob literally saying, "Don't drop the soap," and stuff like that. So now just the influence of the 2010s and people who are like our age or like 10 years older than us are writing shows now. And so it's different. And that's why also like Family Guy has evolved over time, specifically in the way that it makes episodes about modern things. Like it keeps up with like modern tech that's out and stuff at the time and makes bits around that. But it just runs too long. Like it belonged in like the 90s and 2000s, which is why it fit there. But it's just like smushing itself into modern day culture.
Family Guy survives the way that Watch Mojo has survived, of just as long as you are doing things that are culturally relevant, making episodes, making jokes about stuff that's like, oh, here's a modern thing that happened, then like that's just the cheapest and easiest way to keep the show relevant, is just the fact that they do so many cutaways to things that are currently relevant. That's like, well, I guess this is a modern show, but it hasn't adjusted to the time at all. It doesn't do anything new. It really does just exist kind of how Watch Mojo exists, of just like surviving off of the life energies of popular culture.
That just happened.
This is pretty epic.
Yeah, like I could not possibly force myself to work in an environment like that. Like that would destroy me if I had to just like filter feed networks shows like that.
I feel like making Family Guy today, being an animator or a writer on Family Guy, has to feel like working on Coco Melon.
What is that?
That's like the children's, like the baby stuff on YouTube. That's just like dancing fruit and stuff like that.
Baby shark.
Like those baby sensory videos.
Yeah, babies do have sensories.
Like at this point, like I think Family Guy, with how basic its art style is and how there's never really a lot of movement that happens in Family Guy. Things are very still. Usually it's like, if there is movement in a scene, it'll be a character walking from one end of the room to another and maybe gesturing with their hands. But for the most of it, they're like, they get into a pose and then they stay there for like 5 seconds at a time before even thinking of changing. So it's like, especially in the digital age, it feels like 90% of your work's already done for you and you're just syncing up already established, like recycled things. I don't know what you do on like a season of Family Guy.
And they say recycling's good for the environment, but for culture it's terrible.
And they say it takes like a full year to make a season of Family Guy. But
They say it takes a village, but they're lying.
It takes Seth MacFarlane in the bathroom. Like that time I outfarted Michael Moore.
Hold on, I'm sorry, I'm looking something up. Fun fact, It was exactly 2 days ago was the sorry, this is not 2 days ago for you guys. On June 28th, we hit the 1 year anniversary of the ukulele apology video.
Oh my god, it's already been a year?
I thought it had been like 3 years.
Oh my god, 3 years?
I just thought it was so long ago, but Pi, the guy that's like, "Hi, I'm Pi," sent a message in the friend Discord, happy belated anniversary of the ukulele apology video, and Izzy just responded, "Oh my god." And I was like, is that video already? I just can't. I forgot it existed. Like, I remember, like, we were just talking about that Mogul Mail is just like how I keep up with like any drama that's going on, like the recent Nick Merckx and Dr. Disrespect stuff that's been happening, and I only associate those with each other because I associate the two of them with each other. And it's funny too because Nick Merckx just went through all his shit, but he he commented on the doc stuff too, and I was like, yeah, maybe you haven't like sexted a minor, but you're still a piece of shit. He got banned from Twitch for saying tranny.
It's been crazy that like he's like in the wake of Dr. Disrespect exposing himself in more ways than one. In the wake of that, Nick Merckx was like, I never really knew him like that. You know, it's not like we were boys.
Right,
and then you go back like a year or so, and he was like on stream defending Dr. Disrespect because people were like making jokes about his divorce. He was like going to bat for him. He's like, no, that's my boy. Okay, you don't do that to my boy.
It's just
dumb. Do you know him or do you not know him? How close
stupid.
are you with the doc?
Do you know him or do you feel him, sir?
Do you feel him, sir? Sorry, guys, I had a few libations.
Jay, Cody. We do have some wrestling news to talk about a little bit later.
Oh,
but
yeah.
I wanted to say, because there's just some crazy shit that happened on SmackDown, but I did want to talk about that a little further, the Doc and Nick situation. Earlier, I said, like, hey, I just said to Mia, I was like, oh, did you hear about the Dr. Disrespect and Netflix situation? I said Netflix instead of Nick Merckx because I was talking about Raw coming to Netflix. It was just really funny in the moment. But yeah, so Nick Merckx got banned from Twitch for being transphobic on his stream, and Dr. Disrespect, I don't even know. He got dropped by his own company that he started, his like AAA gaming.
Certified lover boy, certified pedophile.
What was weird, I don't know, did you see the Mogul Mail video, like the most recent one on the situation? Yeah, so like they talked, Ludwig if you don't know, and
this is Ludwig Ogren. What's up, gamers?
He just does good news coverage on stuff like that. It's easy to follow. And he talked about how Dr. Disrespect said in his long ass, not even apology tweet, like the opposite of an apology. He was like, fuck y'all, I'm just gonna put it all out there. Was I talking to a minor in Twitch DMs? Yeah, I was. Fuck y'all. Basically.
Fuck it, I'm gonna say it. I'm a pedophile. What of it?
What of it? Ooh, so sorry. Oh, so yeah, in that long ass tweet, he talked about like how he and his company mutually agreed for him to leave, and the company tweeted out like a few days before that they did not feel comfortable with Dr. Disrespect working for them anymore and removed him from their business. And Ludwig was just like, did he quit? Did they fire him? Doesn't really sound like it was mutual.
Yeah, because Doc, he said in his exceptionally long tweet, he was like, we decided to part ways. But that's very much conflicts with what they said a couple days earlier, where they said, we have cut ties with, we have let Dr. Disrespect go.
Yeah, that's definitely not what happened.
Yeah, that's not mutual. And especially the fact that he got, like, it's happened twice, where Dr. Disrespect has been on stream and has gotten, like, a text message or something telling him, like, horrible news for him. First was his Twitch ban. When that happened, he was on stream, and it's the exact same reaction he just had the other day, where he got the text on stream that he was being fired from Midnight Society. And it was just like same reaction where he's just like, you can see him look at his phone.
And then get pissed off.
You can see it in the reflection of his glasses. And he's just like, you know what, guys? I think we're done for the day. It's good.
He'll just use the most like bullshit excuses. Honestly, for me, something I personally thought about is because I was the biggest fan of him out of like the whole shit COD community. I feel kind of bad for Tim because I feel like Tim genuinely is just like a family man who really loves his community and just like tries to have fun. And all of his friends are pieces of shit. And I like, it just sucks.
There's a great tweet that I saw the other day where somebody was talking about like that whole situation with Nick Merckx and Dr. Disrespect. And they were like, man, we just can't stop taking L's here. Dr. Disrespect is a pedophile. Nick Merckx is a bigot. Tim likes the Dallas Cowboys.
We just can't win.
Can't win. Now I hope that Tim stays like chill and doesn't like slip down this path here. Like it can be easy to misconstrue some amount of intention when like when Nick Merck's operator skin got removed and Tim went to bat for him. It's like, yeah, of course.
Because Nick wasn't like being extremely homophobic or transphobic in that. Nick even went on stream to be like, look, I got no problem with gay people. I just think personally that's a discussion for a child to have at home with their parents.
And yeah, that's what he said then.
He just gave his opinion, but then he started.
He was very surface level then.
Right.
And so it's like, it could be seen as an overreaction from Activision to get rid of his operator for that. But like, clearly they're like, this is not like somebody like once somebody starts talking in that way, then you know that it's going to start getting bad. I don't know where like Tim is on all this to this day, like where his allegiances fall with anybody there, but I don't know if it can be like, I don't know if it's fair to associate him on the same level of Nick Merckx for what at the time, what he was defending was different from what we're seeing now.
Yeah. And I don't know what will come of Tim's take on all this. I do know that he made a Twitter video talking about the Doc situation and said, if what they're saying is true and Doc did that, I have absolutely no respect for that, and I do not accept that, which makes perfect sense. And Nick Merckx made a very similar video, but Nick Merckx, as we established, is a piece of shit, so I don't care what he said.
Yep.
I also, like last month or maybe like a few weeks ago, I unsubscribed from like every COD-related channel I had subscribed to. I was subscribed to literally like Doc, Nick, Tim. I unsubscribed from all of Tim's channels just because I couldn't like stand seeing everyone in there. Like, I've always liked Tim. I've always found the funniest moments in the COD community from Tim. I have never not liked Tim as a person.
Even Markiplier at one point expressed his enjoyment of Tim the Tatman content.
It's just like, he's just like funny, and he keeps it like clean, and he works with brands, and he always makes sure brands can do giveaways to his community. He literally made a con just to have his fans to have a good time. He like planned a whole thing for it. The Tim the Tatman tailgate in 2022, which was just a thing he did because his community thought it would be dope.
Yeah, that just sounds dope.
I just like, yeah, I'd love to go to the Tim the Tatman tailgate. He got like bands to perform and shit. He had like I think it was a Korn cover band.
Nice.
Was there? Or like something like that. But yeah, he just does shit like that. And he never says anything like too controversial. When he goes to defend his friends, he does it very casually. He doesn't go like, yeah, and all you trainees out there need to stop bashing my friend Nick. He just like, he's always just been like enjoyable. He just has an enjoyable presence. And when he gets mad, it's funny. Period. End of story. I wish some of my favorite moments of his weren't so heavily associated with Nick Merckx or Dr. Disrespect, but they are. And I don't have to enjoy those moments particularly, but I don't hate Tim by any means. I don't really hate Cloaksy either, because Cloaksy also is just like in this. I don't know what's going to come of the two of them, because Tim and Cloak play the most out of probably any of them. And I hope they keep playing together, but honestly, I don't know if they're going to fuck with either Nick or Doc. Well, they're obviously not going to fuck with Doc anymore, but
yeah,
if Nick gets lost in the shuffle too because of all his behavior, then I would be proud of them for being willing to step away from pieces of shit like that.
Yeah, I think at this point,
I may resubscribe.
Like, I think Nick Merckx is gonna be getting pretty well cut off from all of that. He's way too dangerous to keep around now. Way too volatile.
Right.
Because if you have Nick Merckx on your stream and he's saying the shit that got him banned the other day, he's gonna get you banned.
Then yeah, he's just like a time bomb now. Like if you have him on a stream, it's only a matter of time before he says some shit and gets your account banned. But like, I was gonna say, I said earlier to myself when I was talking about Nick, because I only found out this morning about the ban and stuff. I was like talking to myself, and I was like, go back to Kick where you belong, you psycho.
Oh, he has the Kick icon in his Twitter.
Right, because he was on Kick. I thought he signed a deal with Kick, but then he just started multicasting anyway. Yeah. I think he was multicasting, but he's probably just going to keep streaming on Kick, to be honest.
Yep.
And to be honest, I don't give a shit. I literally have never used Kick for more than 5 seconds.
It is a fucking cesspool.
So I don't care. I've seen several commentary channel videos on Kick. Especially would recommend Something Chicken's video on that one guy who was going on that like Omega website and getting miners to like flash him and then keeping those pictures in a Discord.
Yep.
So he was just carrying tons of CP and it was crazy.
There was, yeah, I don't know if it's the same guy, but there was somebody who was like on stream just like talking to, I think like talking about like a 16-year-old or something, or talking to a 16-year-old and was just like trying to solicit them on stream.
Mm-hmm.
Just real good place that Kick has going, where it's all, oh, that's one of the really funny things about Kick too, is that like there's like a category on Kick apparently that people like, I think it was just called like movies and TV, maybe it's called like Watch Party or something, and it was basically just a way for people to like live stream copyrighted media. And just like, you know, like what people on Twitch were doing a couple years ago.
Or when people get sponsored to like watch a Prime show or something.
Yeah. They were just like going on stream into the just chatting and watching a full season of Avatar The Last Airbender and some shit like that. Just straight up ripping content, yeah. So there was like a whole category dedicated to that on Kick. But then, of course, legal things started to come down on them for all the copyrighted material.
That's bullshit.
And so they're like, okay, we need to change this category so that way it's like we have whatever this was called before, Watch Party, whatever it was.
Put it under the Minecraft category.
Yeah, like it's like our watching movies, watching TV category. We need to change that to, we're just gonna call it like whatever. We'll call it like a Watch Party or something different to make it seem that we're not just pirating media.
I'm sorry, do they know what Watch Party means?
So the great thing about it is that they changed like all the signage around it is of like the category name, but the URL still says the original name. So it's like they just did not cover their tracks at all.
Dude, Kick is such a bozo platform. Like, if you stream on Kick and you know you're a good person, I would please exit and delete your account immediately. Go stream somewhere else. You don't deserve to be there.
I can't imagine how annoying the chat would be if I streamed on Kick.
I think people like you and me would just get stomped. We would get like squash matched on Kick.
I mean, the whole reason why Kick exists.
It's so bad.
The entire reason why Kick exists is because Twitch banned gambling.
Oh, yeah.
So like Kick is founded, it's funded by gambling money, by these by betting websites. Just so that way people like Trainwrecks who literally just gamble all day, every day.
Before Kick was so notorious for being the shit platform it is, when people were like only talking about like the 95-5 split and stuff in the beginning, before there were like tons of like pedophiles and gamblers and pieces of shit using it, like Baka Mercs. Sorry. I was just going to say in the beginning, you were telling me like how shitty the owners of it were, and I was like, oh, I mean, I'm willing to see it out. I don't know the owners, but maybe it'll end up being cool. And I don't know if I've ever been more wrong. And I've predicted way bigger things than that and falsely predicted them. But I haven't paid mind to it in a while. I'm pretty good at ignoring stupid bullshit I don't need to think about. But like, you know, it's something to be aware of. It's like you shouldn't be that kind of person that's like, I don't invest my time in politics. Like you should know what's going on at the very least. Like the least you should be doing is watching John Oliver videos if you need to keep up. Like that's the least you could do. That's how I keep up with the news. Like the real news is either Philip DeFranco or John Oliver, and they both make it very digestible.
You know what I love about John Oliver?
What's that?
I love that he doesn't just cover modern, like, currently happening events in pop culture.
Oh, yeah.
That you can tune into an episode of John Oliver and he will be talking about something that happened in like 2008.
Yeah.
How that still affects us today. Like he'll go into like these topics that like I've never heard anybody else talk about.
I've learned a lot from him.
And like actually educate on important political things in America that like otherwise were unspoken about. But like, oh my God, these are huge things. Why did nobody talk about this?
Yes, I've learned a good deal of things. One of my favorite episodes of, is it Last Week Tonight? Or
I think so.
Last Week Tonight with John Oliver. I mean, him being on HBO is the reason he could say as much shit as he does and swear and stuff, which I love. WHBO show. Because, like, I always see, because he posts, like, his full, like, main segments on YouTube, so it's super easy to view.
It's so based.
It's so based. I actually, fun fact, got my dad into John Oliver. I showed him, like, one John Oliver video, and then he started watching John Oliver pretty regularly, is how he kept up with politics for a while, and I was like, fuck yeah, you should like John Oliver. He's awesome. Because for me, I don't remember why I started watching John Oliver. You know what? My partner, when I was 18, really liked John Oliver and said that like I should get into him. And I don't think I did while we were dating, but I think his video just popped up on my homepage and it was a topic that I was like, oh, interesting. So I watched it and probably immediately fell in love. I don't really remember, but I probably did. Fell in love with his bird-like face and his British voice.
You know, he does play Zazu. Bird-like is apt.
I know. I see Zazu in his face. That's like what I think of when I see him. John Oliver, you're beautiful. I love you. If you ever want to come on Closing Shift, holy shit, please email us.
God, that would be, you know what? Yeah, that's dream guest. Yeah.
ClosingShiftShow@gmail.com. Email us.
It's hard to say like what ideal guests are for this show, but John Oliver.
John Oliver could do our show for us. That would be awesome. I would write like a whole interview and like shit with him or for him if he came on.
I'd shit with him.
I'd shit with him in the open stalls.
But, you know, I'd just get rid of the walls in between the two different stalls, and we'll hold hands, and we'll do it together.
Have you ever seen the picture of the 1v1 toilets that are, like, facing each other?
Yeah.
I love that picture. First one to wipe loses.
I like that. It's just you can tune in and either get what's currently happening in politics or just, like, a comprehensive American history lesson. I think that makes him the most valuable
like late night host of all time,
like late night host, or like what would you call him? Like a political informant? I don't know.
Informant,
like whatever you would call somebody. Like
would you call him a letterman?
Like a political educator, political communicator. That's the word I'm looking for. Like science communicator. He's like a political communicator.
Oh, I've never heard that term. But his show is very good and educational, I would say. Like his show, the people who write it and him being on it. He's very good at delivering his information. He's very good at like the bits that he inserts into it and makes it funny. Like what I love about his show is I can watch it, learn interesting stuff. Me and John Oliver obviously share a lot of the same takes, and it's also hilarious. And I also learn a lot of info. Like I learned all about the Brett Kavanaugh situation while it was going on because I watched John Oliver's coverage of it.
Yeah.
And it made me hate him just as much as you would think it was. And one of my favorite pieces he's ever done was on WWE because he just kept showing clips of wrestlers eating shit through tables and stuff and was like, are you not entertained?
Yeah, I love that episode that he did.
One of my favorite quotes from that episode that I use all the time is, wrestling is better than the things you like.
Oh, yeah, that is John Oliver.
Yeah, I say that all the time, but I got that from him, and it's true. I love wrestling more than most other things I like. I can watch wrestling old and new and have a good time almost every time. Speaking of wrestling, we wanted to cover the most recent episode of SmackDown, which would have been literally a week ago to the day for you guys because he's come out on Fridays.
Week ago.
So last Friday, if you didn't see 2 weeks ago, CM Punk was on SmackDown because they were in Chicago and he had to miss Raw. And he ended up getting the shit beaten out of him by Drew McIntyre and leaving on a stretcher. But before that, he gave a promo at the beginning of the show and came out to like a huge pop, like one of his biggest pops in a while, because he came to SmackDown in Chicago, obviously.
Pops, give me some sugar.
Chicago, give me some sugar. And he came out to the ring and he did a whole promo, and then you hear Paul Heyman's very classic line, "Ladies and gentlemen," and he comes out, and it was the first time they had interacted in a WWE ring or on WWE television in 10 years, and it was crazy because they just haven't interacted in a while, and Paul Heyman came out basically to plead and beg for CM Punk to save him from the bloodline. So after that happened, Paul Heyman was already on thin ice with Solo Sikoa in this like bullshit fake ass bloodline. And so this past Friday, Solo Sikoa forced Paul Heyman to acknowledge him as the tribal chief and instead of Roman Reigns. And Paul Heyman refused and said, I acknowledge that you are not my tribal chief. And they beat the ever-loving fuck out of Paul Heyman. It
was crazy.
Clobbered him from the top rope and threw him through the announcer's table. So it was crazy. And it was Paul Heyman's first baby face turn in a while, which was really cool to see. And it had the biggest pop from an unentrance related pop since like the last Bloodline thing that had that, which was Sami Zayn hitting Roman Reigns with a chair and also turning on the Bloodline. Because Paul Heyman didn't really turn on the Bloodline. He turned on like Solo's bullshit fake ass Bloodline.
Yeah, because
like no one's taking that seriously, not even wrestlers.
Yeah, because it's not like Roman Reigns, when he lost to Cody Rhodes, lost the Bloodline. He just disappeared and Solo filled the power vacuum.
Right, because Roman left.
Roman never officially stepped down as tribal chief.
Right, and like Solo's doing all this like messing around with Cody and like trying to fight Cody and shit. And Paul Heyman said on an episode of SmackDown, like when Roman Reigns left, he told you he left the policy that Cody Rhodes was not to be handled by you. He was not to be dealt with by you. And Solo was like talking about how he's the head of the table. It was the first time on SmackDown to the day since Roman Reigns left that Solo had said, acknowledge me as your tribal chief, because he's been like dropping hints that he was going to say that. He's been saying like head of the table for a little bit. And like the week before that, when CM Punk was there, like I said, Cody Rhodes showed up to help defend CM Punk after the Bloodline was going to beat him up. Cody Rhodes just showed up violently with bats and then grabbed the microphone and was like, Solo, you fashioned yourself as the head of the table, right? I've already beaten one head of the table. So what's cool is that Money in the Bank is tomorrow for you guys, just under a week away for us.
Which it sucks. Because just the you saying right there, Money in the Bank is tomorrow, got my brain excited for half a second where I was like, no, it's not tomorrow.
Yeah, it's not tomorrow. It's on Saturday.
It's tomorrow for all of you.
Yeah, you losers. But what's great is that we're going to record the podcast the day after and we could cover it. Review it. So we'll be doing, next episode you see will be almost a week after the entire event, but we'll be covering Money in the Bank. And it'll be very cool. But we're going to watch that. I found out that I thought it was going to be Randy and Kevin versus the Bloodline in a tag team match and Cody versus Solo at Money in the Bank, but it's actually a 3-man tag team match of Cody, Randy, and Kevin versus the Bloodline, or like the bullshit line.
That rules.
That's going to be pretty cool. I'm excited about that. And also, there's the Money in the Bank matches, obviously, so we'll see how that plays out, and then eventually we'll have somebody cash in their Money in the Bank. Some people have cashed in their Money in the Bank briefcase later that night in the same PLE, so...
Bernie Sanders is cashing in his Money in the Bank.
Yeah, we made jokes about that in DMs the other day.
Yeah, people have been making memes of that after the skeletal show that we witnessed.
So, what do you mean? What?
The two senile old men.
Oh, you mean like the debate or whatever?
That's the one.
Oh, I didn't watch it. I forgot it happened.
The old men of ill repute.
But that is going to be exciting. So we'll see where the storyline goes leading into SummerSlam. I am assuming probably that Roman Reigns will return at SummerSlam, since that's like the third or second biggest PLE of the year. I honestly thought SummerSlam was like a mid-card PLE for the longest time, but then I just saw how much they planned for it. They're kind of doing like a second WrestleMania season for it.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool. They're keeping the hype up, which is nice. And Mia was saying this, you were saying about like a slow burn earlier, they're handling well.
Yeah, it's like they're building up like a proper story again. They took away all the massive fires from WrestleMania, all these these big personalities that have a lot going on. They took all of those away and they're slowly reintroducing them back in like different points to they're building a new fresh storyline at this moment, as opposed to just like it would be so overwhelming if after WrestleMania, Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins and CM Punk and if Roman Reigns would have come back immediately. Oh, it'd just be a nightmare. It'd be so shitty and overwhelming.
Right.
So they've been doing a really good job of slowly building it up. And it kind of, the way that they're doing it, it does feel like DLC for WrestleMania.
It does. That's true.
it's in the same vibe. It's got the same sort of intentions going for it, but it's like it's an additional story that is like following the same sort of rules that I think they're doing a good job of.
It's like Elden Ring DLC, but instead of bosses, it's wrestlers.
I haven't played the DLC, and I don't know if or when I will.
I haven't played Elden Ring, so you got me beat there forever. 'Cause I'm probably never gonna play it.
That's true.
If I had to play one Soulsborne like game, it probably would be Elden Ring. It's like the nicest one I've seen, but
I am so happy that one of my siblings now is getting into Dark Souls and is currently playing through Dark Souls Remastered and has Dark Souls 2 and 3 also. They own that. So I guess they got all of them. So
yeah.
It's been very nice finally having somebody to talk about Dark Souls with, because nobody else that I know really plays Dark Souls like at all.
Right.
So it's nice to have like to finally it's just been normally like in the mornings I will see a couple members of my family for like 20 minutes while I make my coffee and get breakfast and stuff like that. And then because they work nights, then like they're immediately off to bed after that. So that's why like I've had a couple streams recently that have started late because I got caught up too busy like talking for an hour about Dark Souls when I was like, oh shit, I went down to the kitchen at 11:20 to get breakfast and start stream at noon, and now it's noon and I'm still talking about Dark Souls.
Shit.
So that's been a very nice thing for me.
That is nice. They were talking about Elden Ring stuff, like modding in the server, and I told them to come to you and talk to you about it, which I guess they haven't done. But if you ever are interested in joining and talking to people about Dark Souls or Elden Ring, there's like a big wave of it going on right now in there.
Yeah, but since I don't have I don't want to talk to anybody about the DLC. I don't want to hear anything about the DLC. I don't want to DLC it. I don't want to DL hear it.
All I've heard about Elden Ring in the server is that people just want to play it with the multiplayer mod. Nobody's really playing the DLC, I think. I haven't heard anybody talk about the DLC. Mostly they just wanted to play with the multiplayer mod.
I might stop in and help them with that.
I'll message you if they're talking about it.
Oh, another very nice thing. I've finally been invited to a D&D campaign.
Hey.
It would be basically my first.
Who invited you?
Mike.
Cool. I told Mike to invite you. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's he's doing a circus themed campaign. And Mike, he messaged me and it was like, I'm putting this together, and everybody was like, this seems like something you should be invited for. And and lo and behold, I went into the friends server after he sent me that invite. I looked in the D&D channel where he first announced it, and even there was like Andrea saying like this has Mia written all over it. It's like, aw.
Yeah, the circus thing definitely does, but even before that, that's just convenient that he did that, because I know before he came up with that, Mike was like, I'm thinking about doing another thing. I was like, if you're gonna start another one and you need people, get Mia.
Yeah, I
know Mia wants to play D&D.
I've been in like I've had the D&D role in that server forever, but just like never like got to be a part of any of it.
Because I'm in the middle of Bo's campaign. We've done like 5 or 6 sessions. I don't know when our next one will be, but that's been fun. Our last session was just like a casual one. We just did stuff in the town we're in, just like bounties and stuff. It was chill. It was nice. I know that Izzy, or Miso Rim on Twitch, has been playing Elden Ring. She did a Elden Ring stream and failed miserably, as far as I know. Apparently, she was doing pretty well for her first time. I didn't watch most of the stream because she's Australian, so... time zones. It's not because she's Australian. I meant like her time zone sucks. You just needed the context.
Like, I just couldn't watch it. It's just too Australian for me.
No, I just like... She starts her streams at like 3 a.m. East Coast time. So I'm like, no.
It's just every time die to Margit and just go, crikey.
Yeah.
It's hard to watch.
I don't know if I'll ever... I mean, to be honest, the only reason I would never play Elden Ring is because I don't feel like buying it. I already have Dark Souls 3 on Steam, and I have it installed. I want to play it at some point. Like, I'd like to play one Souls game at least. And I had Sekiro on my PS4, but I don't really want to go back and play that, especially because it's on PS4, so it's not going to run at 60 FPS anyway.
Well, if you go back and forth between playing Dark Souls 3 and Sekiro and just play both of them, play one, play the other, play one, play the other, you will have played Elden Ring.
I definitely will not be doing both. That is not happening. I'm playing through Arkham City right now is what I'm doing. And that is fun. I beat Arkham Asylum about a year ago, and so I'm doing Arkham City now. Pretty fun. I like these games a lot.
You own Arkham Knight?
Is that the third one in the trilogy, or is that the other one?
I believe that's the third.
Yeah, I have the trilogy of Arkham games.
Because it's on sale, Steam Summer Sale going on. And I'm going to be buying no games.
I bought the bundle. It was like $3 for all the games or some shit like that.
Oh, yeah.
So that's why I bought them. I have those installed. I'm at the beginning of a Doom Eternal playthrough as well. I'm just trying to, like, not overwhelm myself with games to play. I'm also in the middle of a book that I'm trying to get through as well, the sequel to the Front Desk book I've talked about on the show before, called Three Keys. Also, once again, by Kelly Yang. It's book 2 of 5 in the Front Desk series. And it is very interesting. Lots of plot points I didn't expect. So, if you're looking for a good book that's an easy read, would recommend the Front Desk series. And I have my order of books after this, which I might have also talked about, is the collected poems of Robert Frost after this one that my film teacher gave me for graduation as a gift. After that, I have to read, what is the other one? Oh, I thought I had another one in between that and the next book, but the next one is Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas. It's the that's the first in a septilogy. It's like 7 books.
Oh my god.
I mean, I'm excited about it. It'll be the most fantasy book I've read so far. Most of the books I've read so far either are based on very realistic things or are just literally like retellings of life stories. Like Front Desk is a fictionalized version of Kelly Yang's life. It's cool. I like it a lot. I kind of love, at some points I think about how much different shit we talk about on this show and think we should like block some of it out. Like have like a books block, a wrestling block, like a games block. And shit.
I mean, we kind of have already. We talked about stuff happening with gaming people earlier.
Right.
We talked about, we just talked about wrestling, and now we're talking about books and media.
Gaming people.
That's
how I'd refer to them primarily.
I've been enjoying recently. I'm halfway through season 2 of The Boys, and I'm halfway through season 2 of Star Trek, the original series. And I am enjoying both of them. And I probably wouldn't have watched more Star Trek, the original series if it wouldn't be for my internet provider being just the shittiest recently.
Yeah.
It has been
that's how it goes.
Literally every single day for the past maybe 2 weeks. Literally every single day there has been an outage for at least 10 minutes, sometimes averaging towards like 30 minutes. But the one that we had 2 days ago went on from 5 p.m. to almost midnight. It's just like gone for most of the day. It's been so shit. And like, it's also just been like, it just bad connection and outages. It's been terrible. But with the internet being out, I was like, okay, well, I gotta, if I'm gonna have any kind of entertainment, what do I have? I was like, oh yeah, I have all of Star Trek, the original series saved to an external drive. So I can watch all that offline. And so I did. I was like, thank God I have some Star Trek here that I can just watch. And so I watched a few episodes of the original series and got carried away and stayed up until 3 a.m.
True. Yeah, I was gonna say when you mentioned The Boys, I was just thinking about how I just recently acquired a Prime subscription again, and The Boys is something on my list. I finished Hazbin Hotel in like a day. And then I had The Boys and Invincible on my list. Those are the only Amazon Prime exclusive shows I gave any shit about.
They're solid choices. I haven't seen Invincible, but I've also heard that's really good.
I plan on watching it at some point. I'll probably hit The Boys up first because it's just like the more relevant thing at the moment.
Yeah, I'd say to give a quick review of The Boys to where I am right now, being halfway through season 2, it's really good. Like, the story is really engaging, and it has one of those, like, the structure of the episodes are really nice. They don't dawdle on anything. If something is important, if something is happening on screen, it's because it's important. And there's not really there's not dull moments in the show when stuff is going on. It's just good. Like, very, like, you watch one episode.
Sounds good.
In the span of one episode, you kind of get a full experience. You don't get an episode where it's like, that wasn't really anything. I guess hopefully whatever they talked about in this episode pays off in the next one. Like, every episode kind of has its own build up and payoffs. It's very, very well structured, very well paced. And so I intend to go all the way through up into getting up to current on it.
I'm excited to have a new show to watch. I need stuff like that.
It's good.
I need content to consume. I mean, thankfully, like I said, I have like a few games lined up and a few books lined up, but I also kind of want to try to pick up some more sequels and some more other books to get to once I also need to get like a shelf. I don't have a proper bookshelf up here, but there's a bookshelf in my house I might be able to use, but it would have to be a moving thing. I have not been trying to move my stuff too much. I recently did for a specific reason, but it's a not very public yet reason, so I'm not looking. Damn it, there's a fly in here still. Fuck. Anyway.
You moved it all around to accommodate John Oliver, as we have him as a guest on the show.
I needed my room to be more last week tonight core.
Imagine John Oliver introing Big Wow Big.
That would be pretty interesting.
Just had that thought for a moment and thought how beautiful it would be.
It would be amazing. Also, let me run to the bathroom while you talk or don't talk, but I'll be right back.
I guess I can talk about whatever. I can talk a little bit about Star Trek the Original Series and my thoughts on that. I have been really enjoying the original series. I've been slowly getting through it over the course of, like, I'll watch a couple episodes every so often, like on occasion. I might start watching it more often now because I just re-piqued my own interest the other day with not having internet and that being like the thing that I had to watch. That it's sort of helped to spark a bit more interest, but I do enjoy the original series. I've seen a lot more of it than I've seen of The Next Generation. Although I think I like the characters of The Next Generation a lot more. Because, you know, I'm one of those Data girlies, like Data, Worf, and just all those. Like, those are all the ones that are just most fun to me. I really like that cast of characters, but there is something really special about the original series, especially like it's like a weird difference of vibes where it's like in TNG they're all more co-workers, but they kind of have like, you know, they still have like a soft spot for each other, but like they're a lot more formal with each other a lot of times. Whereas Star Trek the original series, it is just like it's primarily Kirk, it's Bones, it's Spock, and they're just always at each other's throats. Like there's all like the original series is so sassy. It's got like I think the original series is like the most shitpost plots that you could imagine, where it's like, oh, here's the plot of the episode. We've got to deliver Quadro Triticale. And there's all this stuff going on, but there's also these like little fuzzy things. And meanwhile, there's just like interpersonal drama happening between the main cast. Like Kirk, Bones, Spock, they're like best friends, but they also fucking hate each other. And it really leads to a lot of like fun interactions, a lot of like of a great dynamic there, but it's so different from TNG. Everything in TNG feels so clean and professional. And I think the original series just feel like it's kind of a bunch of guys fucking around. And I think that adds like a lot of fun to it.
I return. I love watching a bunch of guys fuck around.
Yeah, that's why wrestling is better than the things you like.
That's so true. I'm also wearing like real non-pajama pants for the first time in a while today.
Wow.
I just felt like trying today, I guess. I don't know. Besides my work pants I have to wear at my job, I just mostly wear sweatpants and shorts around. But today I put on actual clothes, and it's nice. Makes me feel a little more productive.
There was a pair of pajama pants I was wearing the other day that they have a hole worn into the the back of the the back of the right knee, the knee pit, that has a hole worn into it from how I bounce my leg and the way it rests on my chair. So my mom notices this hole on the back of my pant leg and is like, "Oh, do you need new pajama pants?" It's like, one, I'm going to fix this, but two, it's like, you think I'm going to throw out an entire pair of pajama pants because of this like tiny hole in the back of the leg towards the bottom that like all it covers is the back of my knee? This is not a structural failure. These are perfectly fine.
You new pajama pants? Like, shut the fuck up, Mom.
It's like, I'm insulted. Think I would throw away such good pants for such a small problem.
Somebody offered me free pants, I'd be like, yep.
Yep.
Free pants.
That's one of those things that it's like the Pandora's box of when you learn how to sew, that once you learn how and you start like mending some clothing, you are physically incapable of just throwing out anything. Like, I have a pair of jeans that I've had to fix probably 7 times at this point, and I'll still keep fixing them. It's like there's still like 90% good jeans there. So as long as there's still that much, I can just keep fixing it. There's no need to throw it away. It's like you just can't let anything go because you're just like convinced like, no, I can fix this. I have to fix this.
I can fix him.
When
you're crafty, you must craft.
I can't see any hole, any damage in clothing and think, maybe I should get a new one. It's always, nope, gotta fix the old one.
If I have a hole in like a sock, I throw it away as soon as I find out it has a hole. Like the second I find out.
Things like that, though, are so much harder to mend. Like, if you're like something that starts with already so little material that is supposed to be like nice and form-fitting around a certain thing, trying to repair it does become significantly worse than like if I'm fixing a hole in my jeans where there's like a lot of material, there's a lot to sort of borrow. There's if there's like a little bit of a mismatch in sizing of like my patchwork, then it isn't like a structural, like it won't ruin the entire thing. But smaller garments you can absolutely just like ruin quickly.
There is 110% zero difference in any hole in clothing unless it's intentional. If it's broken, throw it away.
But you could learn to sew.
Yeah. But I have like young people things to do. Like breathe normally and walk normally. No, I mean like I do some things like that, just not with clothes. I have some crafty ways I handle things that like I could give up easier on certain things, but I don't need to because I can fix it. Like, I've made a lot of makeshift ways to fit ridiculously large things in small areas just because I wanted to. I'm a pretty determined interior designer, but designer's a light way to put it. I'm like an interior enforcer.
I'm like a raccoon in the garage.
I am like a raccoon in the garage. I'll get whatever I want out of there. I do enjoy when there's something that comes up that I can make a creative solution to instead of just like buying a new thing. Because I don't like having to buy new things. It's just like with clothes, if it's like underwear or like socks and it gets a hole in it, it's hopeless. Throw it away.
Oh yeah, totally.
I don't really get like holes in pants or shirts like that. Sometimes I get a stain on a shirt, and if it doesn't wash out, I might throw the shirt away, but that hasn't happened yet. That's just a hypothetical.
I think just with I've done like maybe 5 controller repairs. I've mended probably 5 or 6 different pieces of clothing dozens of times that I've had to mend them because my work can be shoddy. But I think just like having done so much repair and restoration over the past couple years, I think it has become like a core tenet of my life that is just like an ingrained part of me now, that like I have to try to, like, I can't throw something away without trying to fix it first. I still have controllers sitting in my closet that like the only way that I'd be able to fix it is if I could somehow actually get in contact with the manufacturer to order a part from them that they don't sell individually. Like just hoping that they would have an overstock. Like that would be the only way I'd fix them. But until I try that option, I can't in my heart throw it away.
Yeah. I'm not so much of a giver upper, more of like I know my limits and I know what I have the capabilities of accomplishing mentally or physically. And I know when something would take me too much time to learn to invest in when I'm busy with other stuff.
That's fair.
Cause like fixing my Joy-Cons or fixing controllers, like if the drift was enough to bug me that much, I would just buy new Joy-Cons. But I can like deal with the drift because I don't want to buy new Joy-Cons, but I'm not going to buy a repair kit because I don't want to like figure out how to fix it because I'm already like trying to continue to pay my rent. I'd rather give a shit about that. You know, it seems like the convenience of like going on Amazon, buying a cheap repair kit and then having perfectly working Joy-Cons again. And sometimes that changes. Sometimes I would be willing to do something like that. It's just like the evolution of my mind and keeping up with it. I'm pretty good at that. I had a good few years to spend by myself learning how I act and react. I'm just connected to myself a lot better than I've seen most people. It's not a flex. I had to spend so much time being alone and sad to do that. It's not a flex. It's just something I picked up. Like I did a ridiculous amount of self-therapy before I started going to real therapy, and I still enforce a lot of good habits that came out of that. And I'm a lot better with like money nowadays. One of my parents' biggest mistakes that affected my life mostly was getting me a credit card when I was terrible with money, because they got it with the ideal scenario that they would like teach me how to use a credit card, and they didn't, and I blew it. And you know what happened when I blew it? They got me another one. And after like only 2 months of like working well with my credit limit, they upped it by $1,600. And then I blew that as well by the end of the year.
Yeah, just constantly just like, oh, we're not going to teach you how to drive. Just get into this new car. Just get into another new car. And when you crash it, we'll just get you another one.
Basically.
But we're not going to teach you how to drive.
But they also blamed me for like not knowing what they wanted to teach me. You know what I mean? And this is like the past. Like none of us really have like a toxic relationship because of this stuff. Like my parents, especially ever since I came out as trans and stuff, have grown a lot and have like learned a lot. And we've become closer as a family because we've learned a lot about each other and opened up more conversations about our mental health situations. And that's cool. But also like one of the biggest mishaps of my entire life was my parents getting me a credit card with the intention of teaching me how to use it, and then spending almost an entire year not teaching me how to use it while I was spending money on it, buying things like a VR headset and endless amounts of Christmas gifts for everybody because I love that kind of thing. And then I just never paid it off because I didn't make money enough to. And now I'm a ton of money in debt, and I'm sure someone's going to come arrest me for it one day.
I have $40,000 in credit card debt.
But I majorly just like I plan on opening a new bank account. I'm not going to get into any more detail than that with you guys, but I plan on opening a new account at a new bank because the bank I'm with right now has been creating issues for me. And that's just going to be like a regular checking account. So that's not going to need like anything to do with credit. As long as they don't need my credit to be good to join them. If they do, I'm screwed. My credit is dog shit because of that whole thing. Because I've never dealt with credit since then. So my credit's just been sitting horrifically since then. And I don't know if I'll ever be able to buy a house because of it. But they have like credit card programs that help you recover your credit. But I don't know about any of them. I may put research into it one day. But right now I'm in a like in between period of just college, of deciding what my major is going to be. I have ideas for what it's going to be. I've thought about it a little more, but I have basically like 6 months to decide that, and then register for classes in spring 2025. And then I've got to go back, and I should only have about 1.5 to 2 years left. And then I can finish and be done. And hopefully I can go to school while I'm still working my job that I have right now, because I make enough money to pay my rent. And I'd like to keep paying it and surviving. So I'm just living like an adult. I'm #adulting the hell out of my life right now.
Living like Larry.
I'm living like Larry. I'm living the fuck like Larry. So I'm just working on my real life right now. And it's going well. It's good. I'm working on it. Like I said, I'm not like worried about it.
Yeah.
It's nice to be an adult and be able to enjoy adult things because you're responsible.
I finally found the time to work on smaller projects. That namely being
like your penis.
Mostly been working on my VOD channel. That's been the one that has been like, it's been haunting me for months upon months.
Oh yeah.
That I've just been trying to get my VODs from Twitch uploaded from my hard drives to YouTube and then categorized, thumbnailed, put into playlists, everything, like making sure like, everything's like cut properly, because I have to use like the YouTube editor for a lot of it, because it would just take way too long to export all of these videos before uploading them. So it's been a long process. Sometimes it'll like I had a day where I spent like 8 hours just working on VODs, just getting everything uploaded. If something needed to be edited at all, like editing that and then rendering it and uploading it. Like I worked on that for like an 8-hour day. And by the end of it, I had gotten like 2 weeks worth of VODs uploaded. 2 weeks. 2 weeks! So that's kind of the pace that we're working at here, of like just how much it takes to get these things going. But I finally have some of the oldest stuff that's been like sitting around since like not even last last November maybe. Sitting around since October, November, finally getting them organized and like public. I finally have public VODs again for some of those. And I'm doing them full playlists at a time, like full series at a time, as opposed to trying to upload them all chronologically, because that just doesn't make sense logistically. Of like, okay, this VOD came out on the 12th, and this one was on the 13th, so just do it 12th and 13th, and then it's like, it doesn't matter if they organize it all. Like,
we'll be uploading a VOD every day for 1 year, and afterwards we will delete every VOD.
Yeah, so it's like, I've been having to like, I go through, find like, okay, so this is one part of like this game that I played, here's the next, put them all in a playlist, do them all one after another. Like taking it one thing at a time has been very helpful for that, as opposed to like, okay, so this is this, and this is this, and this is this, put them all in their own individual playlists. And like, that was too much. That's not a sustainable method, but I'm happy to finally have something going there.
I'm happy for you. That's very satisfying. The feeling, I know.
It's been so stressful.
Like when I set up my VOD channel while I was still doing that, it was very satisfying to have my VODs in a neat and organized place. Because I made a playlist for them, and I only had a handful of VODs to re-upload once I had them. There's like actually a specific description for all the VODs that got re-uploaded from the main channel, because I had to re-upload them in 720p 30 FPS because I only could download them from YouTube. I didn't have anywhere else to get them. So there's like a certain amount of VODs in the start of the playlist that have a part of the description at the top that says like, this VOD was re-uploaded from the main channel. It's lower quality because it was re-downloaded from my main channel. Sorry about that. Please enjoy. And then every other VOD is 1080p 60.
That was a thing I complained to YouTube about recently. Was how terrible it is to download your own videos from them. Like It takes like, it'll only download in a 720p 30, even if like I had a VOD that like I realized it was a VOD I was trying to categorize and get into playlists, and I realized like, oh, this VOD actually contains 2 different games and I forgot to split it. So I needed to re-download the VOD from YouTube because it was too long to use a third-party service. A lot of those are like capped at like an hour or so that they won't like download beyond. So I had to download it from YouTube, but YouTube downloaded it in 720/30, and so now I have this VOD that like one part of it, the first game of it, I'm just gonna leave there and be able to edit the second part in the YouTube studio to cut it off at the right point. But the second game is gonna be looking really shitty, and it really sucks that it's like that's our option. I can't like you have the file for the 1080p 60 FPS video. I can load that file freely when I click on the link to the page, and I can watch it in 1080p. Why can't I download that file? Why do I have to download a lower quality version than what I sent you in the first place? Because I know you have the high quality one. Just give me the one from that file.
Even on Twitch, you can download your stuff in high quality.
Yeah, it's really stupid. There's probably a lot of people that they have some videos on YouTube that they're like, this is the only, they don't have it backed up on hard drives. They don't have it anywhere else. It's only on YouTube. And they're like, okay, if I want to like have this like not only on YouTube, I want to do something else with this. Say I have a VOD from like November.
Or upload it to my Facebook.
Yeah. Say I have a VOD from like November that I decide I want to edit into a highlight. but it's like too long to use a third-party service to download. So if I want to download that VOD from YouTube to make more stuff out of it, then I would be getting that in 720-30. And so it's just useless. The download feature is basically useless for any practical application you would have for downloading a video.
You can go the heroes route and just screen record your entire VOD.
No, that's a thing that, like, one of the things that, like, I I bitched out YouTube for on Twitter. I was like, it would be faster. Like, not only would it be faster than downloading to just screen record my own VOD, it would also be higher quality.
Right.
Just, it sucks all around. Terrible system.
I had to screen record because you can't download, you can't see, like, your channel's clips in YouTube anywhere. So, like, you can put, like, clips of your channel as, like, a thing now, but you can't, there's no, like, YouTube studio page for your clips, at least as far as I know. So I had to, like, any YouTube clips I put in my ultimate compilation from, like, a while ago, I had to, damn, that was, like, about a year ago. Jesus Christ. I just realized. To get clips for that from YouTube, I had to do that. I remember, I think that was about the time I found out I could log into my old Twitch account, the Milk is Superior account, and get clips from there. Actually, no, you know what? It was after that, I think. I think I still had clips left over from my, because when I remember this because when I ended up getting into the old Milk is Superior account, I saw, like, a ton of clips that I was like, oh shit, these should have made the compilation, but I didn't know they existed because I didn't know I could get into the account. I thought my two-factor authentication would be different, but apparently it didn't matter which account I used my 2FA with because it worked for both of my accounts. So I was like, oh, I wish it had been that easy this whole time. What the fuck? Why didn't anybody say that was how that worked? But yeah, now I would make, like, an Ultimate Compilation Deluxe, but I feel like the Ultimate Compilation exists the way that it does for a reason. I feel like if I try to fuck with it, I also don't want to, like, do that right now. I'm not in the business of making videos at the moment. That's that. I'm in the business of playing Roblox with sussy bakas named Chandler and Curtis. Is what I did yesterday. We played this Roblox game, or experience as they call it, called Scary Sushi that Curtis really wanted everyone to play. And Scary Sushi is basically just a game where you gotta go into like a facility to get your ingredients. It's like Overcooked, but you have to go into the facility to get your ingredients and avoid monsters while you're collecting your ingredients and cook and make meals faster than everyone else. So you're, like, competing to make the most meals the fastest and also trying not to die from these monsters. There's also a story mode, and there's an endless mode, but you have to beat the story mode to get the endless mode. And we were trying to get 2 people to finish the story mode so we could play endless with them, and they just kept dying. It took, like, 2 hours to finish the 20-minute story mode because they kept dying and we had to restart. It was very funny.
I feel like Curtis would just browse itch.io, find a game, play it for 2 seconds, and then immediately, like, go to everybody else and be like, this is the best game ever, you have to play it. And then once you get into it, he'd be like, nah, I haven't played it. I feel like that's something he would do.
He basically does that with Roblox and Steam. There's a lot of people at the server who come to all of us and be like, I just found this new game. Like, whatever that game is that's, like, only up but together.
Oh, Chained Together?
Yeah. There were a few people who posted that when it came out and were like, we should all play this. I was like, yeah, no thanks.
Streamer bait is what they call that, or tuber bait.
Yeah.
That's the new fresh term.
I will say I think, like, I don't remember exactly when I came back to Spotify from Apple Music, but I've been very satisfied in the time I've been back. Been mostly using Spotify to watch Distractable, obviously to listen to music, but besides, like, the normal stuff, I've been using it to watch Distractable. I've been keeping up with that quite a bit. I actually still have an episode to watch, which I might do after this, but I've been doing that. I've been listening to other podcasts. I've been watching video versions on YouTube of most of the podcasts, though, because I watch Chris Van Vliet, I can't remember. But he interviews wrestlers and stuff. He's been doing some big episodes recently. He recently had an episode with The Undertaker. He did Rey Mysterio in his latest one, I think, and then some other wrestlers. I remember when I was doing some TMTL mining in a cave, I was listening to his episode with somebody, and it was fascinating because he's just, like, a wrestling fan. He's, like, good at entertaining the wrestler he's interviewing, and it's really good.
I've seen a lot of clips from him.
I commend him as host of that podcast. Very good podcast. Would recommend. I also listen to Smosh read Reddit stories a lot. That's a very fun thing to listen to for me. trying to see what other podcast do I listen to right now. I also listen to Closing Shift, the best podcast on the internet.
Haha.
I guess that's about it. I don't listen to Void FM as much as you'd think I do, but I could. It's not like I hate Void FM. I listen to different stuff more often. And I also, like I said, I'm not trying to like overwhelm myself with the media I consume. I don't want to like commit myself to too much media.
It is easy to get burnt out when you're like watching like 10 things at a time.
Yeah, sometimes I just like queue up a bunch of different things, like a book and a game and a show and a podcast, and I'm just like, now I don't want to do any of them.
That's why it's taken me several years to try and watch Star Trek the original series, is that I start watching a few episodes of it, and then I just like, I get interested, and I'm like, okay, let's try to watch as many episodes as I can before I lose interest in this. Please, I just try to finish the show before I lose interest. And unfortunately, that happened with Better Call Saul, where I watched all the way through season 5. I never watched season 6. Still haven't seen it. But I binged all the way through the start of Better Call Saul up to season 5. And I watched all that, and then I hit a roadblock where I couldn't watch season 6 without AMC Plus, and AMC Plus, for whatever reason, their sign-up service just didn't fucking work and wouldn't let me make an account. So I just never watched the final season of Better Call Saul. And someday, I'll probably have to like give it a proper rewatching to get back up to speed, which is going to be quite an undertaking, but I've just like so close to the finish line, and then just ran out of steam.
I can't think of a show I've done that with. I haven't not finished a show in a while. I mean, like One Piece, I guess, but it wasn't because any like subscription ran out. I just haven't gotten back to One Piece. One Piece is a show I need like a breather from when I watch it for a while. I got like pretty deep into Skypiea, and then I paused, and I've been off since then. I think when I paused on Skypiea, I went back to the books I was reading, but you know, a lot of things are changing in my life, like I said earlier. So I'm consuming a lot of media and rearranging a lot of things in my real life. So I'm focusing on that. I'm focusing on my happiness and my mental health more than anything.
Gotta get mine.
Reading, I gotta get mine. And reading is like one of the number one things for my mental health. I have very like expressed, like outwardly expressed emotions when I read books now. I'm like, like while I'm reading her, I'll be like, ha ha ha, that was such a funny moment, Hank. You silly baka. You got that damn nerd.
I'm going to be hearing nothing but silly baka for the next couple weeks, aren't I?
If I continue to hang out with them, or you join hanging out with them, then yeah, probably.
Dear Lord.
I hope. I kind of hope you don't, because I don't want it in my head.
We do not need a folie à deux.
I was forced upon the aura of the weeb. Those damn nerds. Baka-sized my brain.
I was born into the sussy baka, molded by it.
I hope you know that I'm putting like my middle finger on the middle of my glasses every time I talk like that.
Yeah.
Like I'm like Clement from Pokemon XY.
That's a deep cut. I don't think anybody watched Pokemon XY.
I loved XY. XY had some of my favorite Pokemon and some of my favorite... The theme song, the remix of the Pokemon theme song for XY was really good. I like that song.
We are now finally getting the third for that. I think I said before that like Pokemon Z, it has a realistic release time, that it doesn't seem to be the usual crunch that the other Pokemon games have had recently. So it seems that Pokemon Z has the highest likelihood of being a finished game, and it may be what gets me to play Pokemon again. Pokemon Z is going to be, if I can look at it and find a value in it, if it interests me at all, it might be the thing that like gets me back into Pokemon.
If it's good enough, I'll play it. I played a lot of recent Pokemon games and enjoyed them. I didn't get to Scarlet and Violet because I didn't ever buy them. I think still that's the game Chandler gave me money for, and I used it to pay off some bills instead of buying the game.
A better use than buying Scarlet and Violet.
Yeah, except for it was for like my credit card that I was talking about was shitty earlier, so I kind of wish I just bought the game. But whatever. Anyway, I guess that's probably a fair point to end our show for today, huh?
Seems to be.
I guess we'll see all you buckers next week. Toodaloo.